Man, it's been a while since I've said this, but the New Jersey Devils are finally back. It is game day once again for them. After taking a little more than a week hiatus, they are finally back on the rink. Dougie Hamilton is going to be full suit for the New Jersey Devils. Will he be enough to lead us to victory once again? Also, doing a crossover with Hunter of Locked On Penguins. Also, be a little patient. He got a new microphone, so his voice is a little muffled, but it still sounds good for the most part. He got, like I said, got a new microphone, still trying to get used to it. So just bear with us throughout the entirety of the crossover. But anyway, we're going to hear from his side. What does he think the Penguins are going to do in this matchup? What do I think the New Jersey Devils are going to do in this matchup? Do I think they're going to come out with the W? Well, we have a lot to discuss in this episode, so buckle up.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here on the Locked On Network. I'm your host, college hockey play-by-play announcer, and also Devils writer for Pucks and Pitchforks, Trey Matthews. And it is game day for the New Jersey Devils. It's been a good while since I've said the words game day and New Jersey Devils in the same sentence. The last time the New Jersey Devils had a game was a little over a week ago. So I am really excited to see the Devils take the rink once again. I am very excited to see Dougie Hamilton suit up once again for the New Jersey Devils. So I talked about that in the last episode. I said that Dougie Hamilton is good to go. He has recovered from his facial fracture. And basically today, guys, I am doing a crossover with Hunter Hodes of Locked On Penguins. So we're going to be breaking down any pregame notes that we have. We're going to be asking each other questions about both of our respective teams because this is going to be the final time that the New Jersey Devils play the Pittsburgh Penguins, barring anything miraculous happening, and then maybe they beat each other in the playoffs. But like I said, we would need a miracle. No, we would need something beyond a miracle for that to happen. But anyways, doing a crossover with Hunter Hodes of Locked On Penguins. So here's the thing about the New Jersey Devils, and here's something that I want to focus on. It is Dougie Hamilton. Dougie Hamilton is by far going to be our X factor moving forward because the New Jersey Devils have been struggling. But keep in mind, after the Christmas break, the Devils were actually doing pretty decent. As you guys know, they got off to like a 3-game win streak after the extended Christmas break. Jack Hughes caught lightning in a bottle, but then Dougie Hamilton got injured on January the 2nd. And it's been almost 2 months since we've seen him in action. So it's been a good while since we've seen Dougie Hamilton play, and the New Jersey Devils have, well, let's just face it, they've been sinking. Like, you know, they've been staying afloat when a key guy gets injured. So, like, for example, when Jack Hughes got hurt, they were staying pretty much afloat. They were still relative in the Metropolitan Division. But at the same time, they were never within striking distance to get a top spot. But here's the thing that I want to focus on. The New Jersey Devils, once they went on that 3-game win streak, once Jack Hughes went on that miraculous streak in terms of racking up the points, you saw the New Jersey Devils were within a game or two of the wild card standings. Like they were like battling either the Boston Bruins or the Detroit Red Wings for that final wild card spot. Albeit, I get it, it's early January. Just way too much can still happen. We weren't even halfway done with the season. But like I told you guys, those games do add up. And I was just saying, okay, the New Jersey Devils, like I said, they're within striking distance. And if all goes well for them, maybe they'll do well. So here's the thing, guys. All did not go well for us. Dougie Hamilton got hurt. Jesper Bratt had to go onto COVID protocol. Jack Hughes, after the All-Star game, had to go onto COVID protocol. Mackenzie Blackwood got hurt. So, look, I get that your patience is waning thin for the Devils organization. I get your patience is waning thin for Lindy Ruff. But the thing is like we have to be patient with the New Jersey Devils. This is a process, and I get it. The first season really didn't go as planned, and I greatly underestimated the impact of COVID and things of that nature. But at the same time, I'm excited to see what the New Jersey Devils could do almost at full strength. We're still missing Mackenzie Blackwood. We're still missing Miles Wood. And, you know, we're just going to have to make do with what we got. But I think Dougie Hamilton gives us more options. Lindy Ruff is taking my advice of splitting up Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt. Talked about that in the last episode. I said that's going to be good for the New Jersey Devils. So basically in this crossover, I talk about all those points. I talk about all the X factors, and I'll give you guys my prediction towards the end of the episode. Look, I'm hyping up the New Jersey Devils, but at the same time, as you guys know, I am realistic and I am not afraid to say my opinion, Keep in mind, the New Jersey Devils, last time they played was a little over a week ago. So they might come out a little rusty. We might see some guys, stay consistent. Like we might see Jesper Bratt try to rack up a point. We might see Dougie Hamilton try to make a quick impact early for the New Jersey Devils. But at the same time, still haven't played in over a week. We still have goaltending issues. So does that outweigh the positive aspects? I'm not really sure. You're going to have to wait and see towards the end of the episode when I talk to Hunter. So before we bring in Hunter and have our crossover, it is time for the first and only live read this morning, and it comes from BetOnline.net. So football might be over this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. From all the latest odds, totals, player performance, props to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline.net is the number one spot for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds, right to the Olympic coverage and information. Well, the Olympics is now over, so you're going to have to find something else to bet on, maybe NASCAR. So head to the website today to use your mobile device or learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Please remember to gamble responsibly and visit our friends at Locked On Bets for all your betting needs there as well. Okay, so it's time to talk to Hunter of Locked On Penguins and have this crossover and basically talk pregame for tonight's matchup between the New Jersey Devils and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Remember what I said going into this crossover, which is keep an eye out for Dougie Hamilton. Try to keep your expectations somewhat moderate for the New Jersey Devils, but still get excited for them. This is probably the most full strength they're going to get towards the rest of the season. So, we're just going to have to make do with what we got. Okay, so without further ado, let's talk to Hunter of Locked On Penguins.
Hello, welcome to this special crossover episode of the Locked On Penguins and Locked On Devils podcast. I'm your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes, follow the show's Twitter at @LO_Penguins. And of course, thank you all so much for making this your first listen of the day. Joining me now is the host of Locked On Devils, Trey Matthews. Trey, first off, how you doing, man? I'm glad we were able to do this. I know it's a little late at night, but I'm a night owl as well. So my listeners are definitely used to me recording a little late at night.
Huh. You used the term night owl. I wonder who talked to you about that first.
Yeah. Well, I had to get it from somewhere today, but
no worries. Like I said, I'm a night owl too, and actually I prefer to actually record my episodes at night because you get all the information in already, kind of thing. So yeah, so I actually prefer recording at night, and now we got all the information in regards to the next game between the Penguins and the Devils, and this is the first time that the Devils have been playing a game in about an 8-day span. So it's definitely going to be very exciting, and I'm so it's such a breath of fresh air to finally be talking about the Devils in game form instead of just saying, oh, look, someone's on the trade market, or let's do a silly season episode, things of that nature. I love that and all, but this has been a mini break for the New Jersey Devils, quite honestly. I don't know how long Christmas break was, but it's probably close to that. So 8 days without a game, and I'm just itching for some good action, and hopefully the Devils just come out guns blazing against the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, the Penguins, they've won two out of the last three. Well, the last two in this series. New Jersey took the first one, obviously, in Pittsburgh. I did see, Trey, that Dougie Hamilton is expected to come back on Thursday. I almost did forget, that I don't think he played in that last matchup. How big of a loss has he been? I know it's been a rough season overall for New Jersey, but can you really put into words how big of this loss is?
Okay, so losing Dougie Hamilton was definitely huge. The last time we saw Dougie Hamilton on the rink in a Devils uniform was January 2nd when we played the Washington Capitals. So nearly 2 months without his services, and getting him back is huge for us because right now Mackenzie Blackwood is still out. Jonathan Bernier is out for the entirety of the year. So goaltending has been a huge hole that we need to fill. Unfortunately, we don't really have the defense to make up for our bad goaltending. So like when we're looking at someone like Dougie Hamilton, he certainly helps in that regards. And the thing about the matter of fact is, Hunter, is that when Dougie's on the rink, we're more prone to win a game. I know that's a no-duh situation, but you can look at the advanced analytics, and it shows you without Dougie Hamilton, the Devils just lose more. And with him there, they're more likely to win. I don't know what the proper terminology is for it, but in basketball or baseball, it's like I believe it's wins above replacement, that kind of thing, which is like if a player is out for a game, it puts a huge hinder on their respective team. So I don't know if it's the same thing in hockey, but it goes to show you that the advanced analytics shows that if Dougie Hamilton is not playing for the New Jersey Devils, they're more likely to lose. And getting him back is just huge for us because he's arguably one of our best players. And we're also going to be doing something a little bit different with our line combinations because in our last practice, Lindy Ruff paired Dougie Hamilton with Jonas Siegenthaler. And I said it in the last episode. I said I kind of like that combination because for most of the season, it was Dougie Hamilton and Ryan Graves, and they've been a great duo. But the problem with the New Jersey Devils is that they're so spread thin in terms of consistent talent that they got to split up their consistent talent so that way they have more options to go to. So Jonas Siegenthaler, when you look at his stats for the average fan, you might not see much of them. But when you're watching the Devils play, you see that he's suppressing shots. You see that he's just putting his body out there. You just see that Jonas Siegenthaler is taking up a lot of space, and he's helping us win. And just pairing him alongside Dougie Hamilton, that's actually a very interesting combination because you pair one of our best players with one of our most consistent players. So I kind of like that combination. So getting Dougie Hamilton back, going back to what I was saying, is huge for the New Jersey Devils because, like I said, gives us more option in the defensive strategy, gives our goalie some help because we've been having to rely on Nico Dawes, Akira Schmidt, and John Gillies. Those are our three goalies right now. And we also had to sign an emergency backup goalie a few weeks ago. And it's just like it's been just hectic at the goaltending position. So getting Dougie Hamilton back, it's not going to make the pain go away necessarily, but it's certainly going to help aid us and puts us into a much better position to possibly win a game.
Yeah, I mean, I said it on my Tuesday episode when I was looking at the line combinations in Southeast. One of the 10 best defensemen, I think, in the league. You know, he signed a really nice contract. It really stinks that he's been hurt for a lot of this year. And, you know, in terms of your wins above replacement thing, Jay Fresh or Jack on Hockey Twitter, he has his player cards, which show, you know, the wins above replacement percentage for a player. And I'm pretty sure Dougie has one of the best rates, just because obviously he is one of the best defensemen in the league. And as you said, you know, it's obviously the no dust statement. You know, when your best players are in, you have a more higher likelihood of winning. If they come out, you know, obviously you have a better chance of losing. So it is obviously big that he is back. I want to get to your point about the goaltending, Trey. Yeah, it's Jonathan Bernier getting hurt. I believe it was early in the year. They said he was out for the year. Mackenzie Blackwood, I think, he's been in and out of the lineup last I checked. But, you know, John Gillies, he played pretty decently against the Penguins last time. You know, he was giving them fits, I would say, I guess a little bit. You know, he's a big dude in there. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", something like that, and just takes up a lot of it. And he was making some really dazzling saves. The Penguins had to find a couple perfect shots to beat him. Would you say that's been the main reason that New Jersey just hasn't been able to take that step this year, or is it like a multitude of things?
It's a multitude of things, but it starts off with goaltending. And going to what you said about John Gillies, he stands 6'6" and he weighs 223 pounds. So you're right, he is a big guy. But the problem is, I don't know what I'm going to get from John Gillies. Am I going to get decent John Gillies, or am I going to get John Gillies who's just getting sunburned out there because the other team is lighting the lamp on him? So it's just like, I'm not sure what I'm going to get from him. Like, he's wildly inconsistent. And when he is good, we have to rely on that hot hand a little bit because we can't afford for him to have a good game, maybe a good couple of games, and then put someone else in. We don't have that option. So when I saw people just critiquing Lindy Ruff saying, why did we play John Gillies so much? It's just because John Gillies was on a little bit of a roll, nothing impressive, but it was good enough to the point where we need to keep him in and just keep riding that hot hand a little bit. So, you know, for John Gillies, like I said, just wildly inconsistent. Yeah, he doesn't really have good rebound control. And it's just like he makes a lot of boneheaded mistakes alongside with Nico Dawes and Akira Schmidt. It's just like they're out there. It's just like sometimes they make the mistakes. Like, I don't think Jonathan Bernier would make that mistake. I don't think Mackenzie Blackwood would make that mistake. So the thing about Jonathan Bernier, he had to get hip surgery, so he's out for the entirety of the year. Mackenzie Blackwood re-injured a heel injury that he sustained and actually had to get surgery on during the course of the offseason. And that's why he missed the first month of the season, because he was still recovering from his heel surgery. So, and he re-injured it. And it was, in my opinion, a good part of that was on Lindy Ruff. So overall, it's just like the overall struggles from the New Jersey Devils is in fact goaltending. And, I like John Gillies. I like that he has a chip on his shoulder. I like that he's trying to prove something. But at the same time, I just can't have a feel-good story. I need something that actually, makes me feel good. And unfortunately, John Gillies is not the person right now. We don't have any goaltending. It's wildly inconsistent. And it's funny you mentioned this, Hunter. In our last matchup against you guys, we lost 4-2. I predicted the Devils would lose 4-2 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I predicted it spot on. So I said just based on everything, because I believe we were on a 2 or 3 game win streak. We had scored like 14 goals in our last few or so games. So we were putting like the hammer down on a few of these opponents. Like we put the hammer down on the Montreal Canadiens, which doesn't really take that much to do, and also the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
We won in St. Louis for the first time since 2008. So it's just like, people were like, are the Devils on to something? I'm like, nope, it's going to be ended by the Pittsburgh Penguins. I just don't think the Devils can withstand that firepower, because the problem with scoring like 7 goals consistently, that's not how you play the sport of hockey. That's just trying to outshoot your opponent, and you're hoping for the best. That's wildly inconsistent. That's not how you play the game. The Pittsburgh Penguins are not going to lay down to the Devils. It's just not going to happen. Maybe early on in the year when you guys were dealing with a lot of injuries and a lot of COVID-related issues, but not now. It's not going to happen. So I said, Devils, they'll score a couple goals, but they're going to lose 4-2. And I was correct. And that is the first time this year that I predicted a correct score. I've predicted correct outcomes, but not correct scores.
Well, we're gonna see soon if Trey is going to be a prophet for this one as well, because this will be the 4th and final meeting. Trey, before I'll turn it over to you to obviously questions about the Penguins, I do want to say, at least on a positive note, Jack Hughes I really think has shown how good he is this year. Year 1 I was like, okay, rookie, what's he going to be? Year 2 I was like, all right, I'm seeing the flashes. Year 3 went healthy. He's really starting, I think, to put it all together. He signed that mega extension, I believe, right before the season started. I think it was 8 years, $64 million, if I recall correctly. What a player he is, and I think for as long as they have him, they got to build around him and just keep him there, because I think he can be a player that can really take any team to the next level. I obviously think the Devils have a lot of work to do. Obviously, there's going to be questions, I think, around Lindy Ruff, maybe just because of another struggling season. But Hughes is just an incredible talent. Him and Heischer, I really think, are a great 1-2 punch.
So here's the thing. I'm actually going to clear some things up. So you're right. Jack Hughes did sign a mega deal. He did. It was signed during the course of the season. And the thing is, Jack Hughes actually hasn't been healthy all year. But it wasn't his wrongdoing. In the second game of the year, he got hurt by Lawson against the Seattle Kraken, and unfortunately, he had to get, I believe, shoulder surgery. He was out for a long time with a shoulder injury. He was out for about 8 weeks. So, I felt like his chances of playing the All-Star game were slim to none. He's not going to be named an All-Star now. But after the Christmas break, he caught lightning in a bottle. He went on a huge tear. So you're absolutely right. Jack Hughes is definitely our future. But the one thing I want to give credit when credit is due, and this isn't on you, this is on everyone else, is I wish people would give Jesper Bratt a little bit more attention. Yes, Nico Hischier is our captain and he is the leader of our organization, but I just feel as though Jesper Bratt needs more attention. I was really hoping he would get into the All-Star game on the last man chance vote kind of thing. I was really hoping for that, because I was like, Jack Hughes does not have the season he is having without Jesper Bratt. It's just no question about it, because Jesper Bratt is also having a career year. So I was just like, look, I love Jack Hughes. I love Nico Hischier. I love Dougie Hamilton. But we need to give Jesper Bratt some love, too, because he's also really doing wonders for us right now. Do I think he's going to be signed to a mega extension deal similar to Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, and Dougie Hamilton? Absolutely 100% no, because we don't know if this is a fluke here. We don't know if it's just going to be a one and done kind of thing. We don't know if this is just a trend. And, you don't want to sign someone to a long-term deal and they just don't work out. that can put you in a deep hole. So it's just like I believe we'll resign him to like a 2 or 3 year extension just to be conservative and just to play it safe. So, like you said, Jack Hughes is definitely the future of our organization. I'm glad that we have him locked up for 8 more years. But like I said, I just want people to just notice Jesper Bratt just a little bit more, leading our team in points, goals, assists. And I just feel as though had he not gone onto the COVID protocol at the wrong possible time, the Devils will be in a much better position. And speaking of COVID and, injuries of that nature, you guys know a thing or two about that early on in the year, at least. You guys got off to somewhat of a slow start, but you kind of picked it up. Like, you guys are now one of the top teams in the Metropolitan Division. You're just trailing the Carolina Hurricanes by 4 points. We're obviously way, way, way behind you guys. But overall, it's just like, what have you been seeing from the Penguins so far this season? What's your guys' story? Because how are you making it work with a bunch of fossils?
Yeah, I mean, it really, you hit the nail on the head. They did have those 2 COVID outbreaks, the one at the beginning of the year. I think really just, it made them just come out to a slow start. They had some really nice wins, but, they struggled. And obviously that happens when you have 4 of your top 9 forwards out. Then, all the injuries, they finally got Evgeny Malkin back. They got Danton Heinen back. Brian Dumoulin, I think, was out for a little bit as well. They were missing so many bodies. Ashton Reese had COVID twice. Teddy Bluger's out right now. Jason Zucker's been out for so much of this year. Brian Russ has been banged up a lot. But Mike Sullivan's mantra of just play has just really been on full display because this team really makes no excuses for whoever is in or out of the lineup. They try to play the same style of hockey. And, the goaltending has obviously been really huge. Tristan Jarry, I think, has been one of the 5 best goaltenders in the league this year. He's still top 10 in goals saved above expected. He's in top 5 for most of the year. Went down a little bit. I think that was probably because of his start against Carolina, where they lost first place. They were tied at that time last Sunday. But, Carolina took them down in regulation. Right now, honestly, Trey, they only have basically 2 injuries to their top 12 lineup. It's Teddy Bluger and Jason Zucker. So that's probably one of the healthiest times this team, I think, has been at this year. But, they're deep, they're fast, defensively they're very mobile, they get good goaltending, their special teams have mostly been pretty good. And, I'm not going to sit here and say that, they're a contender like the Panthers or the Lightning or the Avalanche or something like that. But, I've had the saying of, why not the Penguins, just because I feel like they can play with a lot of these top teams. And I know Sid and Gino and Chris Letang, of course, are up there in age. But, why not at this point? There's maybe still a move or two to be made at the deadline. They have some of the best underlying numbers in the league. Expected goals against, they're top 5. Expected goals score, they're in the top 5, top 10 as well. Finishing ability is where they've struggled just because, they're not finishing their chances. But, this is still a top team in the league. And they only have 13 regulation losses through over 50 games. I know some people are going to be a little upset that they blew one against the Maple Leafs and they lost to Carolina at home. And I get it. But, before that, they won 4 in a row. It's probably not going to be a while now until they go off on a little winning streak again. So, they've really caught a lot of fire after that slow start. They needed to play well and play at a really high point pace. They've done that and then some because they're a virtual walk right now to make the playoffs unless, knock on wood, some godforsaken collapse happens.
Sidney Crosby, I predicted in our last matchup that he would get his 500th career goal against us. I think he was waiting for that opportunity, and it didn't happen, but it did happen soon after that. So I'm glad. So thank you for not letting Sidney Crosby score 500 against us, because I was just like, here we go again. People are going to be replaying that, and it's going to be against the Devils, things of that nature. But speaking of Sidney Crosby and that whole veteran group, what does it mean to just be keeping the band together for this long and just overall having this level of consistency? Because a lot of people have been saying you guys just need to blow it up and start over because, we're one of the youngest teams in the NHL. Aren't you guys one of the oldest teams in the NHL?
Yeah, the core is definitely up there, though. I will argue Jake Ensel's still a bit young. Brian Rust is approaching 30, but I think Ron Hextall did a really nice job of just surrounding the older veterans with, some youth a little bit. And, they made some very smart, some true signings. Aaron Rodriguez has had, really high at the start, came down a little bit. Now it was trending up in the right direction again. Danton Heinen's been really good. Brock McGinn's been fine. He's still, kind of on the younger side of things. But, I'll always say this, I know the core is a bit older, but you can count the Penguins out at your own peril. And until they actually miss the playoffs with these big three, then, I'll be like, okay, maybe it's time to do something. But, they've earned the right to hopefully finish their careers together. Of course, that's Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. Two of them have contracts that are up at the end of this year. It's going to be, I think, probably tougher to keep Letang. I think Gino will be the one to take lesser money, but I don't think Letang will, just because he's played at a Norris caliber level. It just, when Cale Makar, Victor Hedman, and Adam Fox are playing at a level above him, it's not going to be enough to be a Norris Trophy finalist. Heck, I'll put Roman Josi up there too. He's been fantastic. But I love how consistent all three have been. Gino's at a point per game pace. Sid, I believe, since the new year, is second overall in points during that time behind Jonathan Huberdeau. And you are right, he scored his 500th against the Philadelphia Flyers. And I hope everyone took a bet.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
hope everyone went on FanDuel that listens to Locked On Devils and stuff and placed a bet there, because everyone should have known that was how it was going to go down. That he hates the team the most. He's tormented Philly the most. That was always how it was going to be. And then, of course, Chris Letang has been probably this is probably his best hockey that he's played since 2017. And, obviously, outside of them, Mike Sullivan has done a tremendous job with this team. It's crazy that NHL coaches have such short shelf lives, but he's been able to be one of the longest tenured head coaches in the league. I believe he's number 2 right now behind John Cooper. And those two are, in my opinion, the two best coaches in hockey, along with Barry Trotz. So the fact that they are continuing to listen to him, for the last 7 years, just goes to show that, his footprints are all over this team. And, a lot of the star players are, they're taking after his message.
Okay, barring anything catastrophic happening, I got Igor Shesterkin winning the Vezina Trophy. However, Tristan Jarry has put his name into the mix a little bit. What are your opinions on what Jarry has been able to do this season for your organization?
Yeah, I have Shesterkin winning it as well. I mean, he's by far and away, I think, the best goaltender in hockey this year. He's been number 1 in goal saves above expected all year. I believe he's well over 20 right now. I think he's one of the main reasons they're even in the playoffs. I would have Tristan as a Vezina finalist. There's a lot of other options you could have for that other finalist. Heck, you could make an argument that Tristan may not be a Vezina finalist just because there's been so many great goaltenders this year. But, I think the biggest thing that I've noticed with him, I've said it on, my show so many times, he's been much more aggressive this year in the net. He's actually coming out and challenging shooters. A lot of other times he would kind of just, sit back, play deep in his net, and, that would allow a lot of these shooters to just, pick holes on him. And, Andy Chiodo has come in. He's the new goalie coach. He's been able to work on some kinks in his game. And this looks like a completely different goaltender from what we saw last May, when he was basically the main reason why this team got eliminated by the New York Islanders. The Penguins were the better team in that series. The numbers and the eye test showed that. It was just goaltending is either your greatest strength or it's your greatest downfall. And, the latter happened with the Penguins at that one. And he's just been a very calming presence in net. He's made me look like an idiot. He's probably made the entire fan base look stupid, and a lot of the other media that cover this team really dumb as well. So I love the changes that he's made to his game. Again, he's been much more aggressive. He's been reading the plays a lot better. He's not, making poor decisions coming out of his net and all that. And, it's just his movement also looks much better compared to last year. It is night and day for how he's played this year. And if he can get the proper rest down the stretch, they can go out and get a backup. He'll be fresh for the playoffs, and hopefully that means he can actually help the team go on a run this time.
Okay, because I know a lot of people were clowning him after how the playoffs ended for you guys, including me. I'm not going to remove myself.
Hey, man, I did too. We all did.
But I guess he's just trying to shut up the naysayers. But like I said, barring anything catastrophic happening, I think Shesterkin is a safe bet to win the Vezina Trophy. So here's what I like to do on my show, Hunter. I love to predict outcomes, whether it be a player to look out for, final score, whether the team is going to win or lose. So I'm going to ask you first, what are your predictions for this matchup between the Penguins and the Devils, and why did you predict that?
Okay. So I do have the Penguins winning this. They played New Jersey pretty well outside of that first matchup when the team was banged up. I think I'm going to go, since these games are always really close, for whatever reason, the Devils always play the Penguins tough. I'll go 3-2 Pittsburgh, regulation win. In terms of who I think will get the game winner, I might go Jake, just because he's been due, I think, for a little bit. I mean, he's been obviously playing really well, but he's got, I guess, a little colder than where he was in the beginning of the year. Obviously, that was never going to continue with him scoring over a goal per game. But I have him getting the game winner. I have the Penguins winning 3-2. I think Tristan is probably going to start this game, though I wouldn't be surprised if it's DeSmith because they have a back-to-back coming up. But I also think, DeSmith's going to get the game on Sunday against Columbus, and then they'll let Jari get the game on Saturday against the Rangers. So I have the Penguins winning the season series 3 out of 4 against New Jersey, and getting a much needed 2 points as they've lost 2 in a row. Trey, what do you think is going to happen?
Okay, so Dougie Hamilton is coming back. This is the first game that the Devils have been playing in over a week. So I think the Devils are going to come out rusty. So I'm going to do a score similar to you. I don't think the Devils are going to win this game. I think they're going to drop it 3-1. No, actually, I changed my answer. I think they're going to lose, and I'm going to say the same score as you, 3-2. But here's my reasoning, because they're going to come out rusty. But I think with Dougie Hamilton, they're going to have some firepower. So I predict that Dougie Hamilton will either score a goal or he's going to have a point, as in an assist. And he might have his moments of rust because it's been a while since he's played. And also, due to consistency, I'm going to say Jesper Bratt is going to get a point for the New Jersey Devils, whether it's a goal or an assist. So that's my prediction. I say Dougie Hamilton and Jesper Bratt will get a point for the New Jersey Devils, and the Devils will drop it 3-2.
Well, we'll have to see if both of us get the final score prediction right, and if both of us are also profits, Trey, as I said earlier on.
Usually I get the outcome right. I don't really get the score right. It's so hard.
Well, you did get the last one right. So you're batting, I guess, 1 out of 3. So point out of 33, I guess. I'm not a math major over here, but if you get this one, 2 out of 4, you'll be batting 500. So there's that.
In this case, Hunter, I hope I'm wrong. That's why I hope I'm wrong. That every time I make a prediction that doesn't go in the way of the Devils, I always say I hope I'm wrong, but until they prove me otherwise, I'm just going to stick by it.
Yeah, and again, the Penguins, they badly need this win. They've lost 2 in a row. They have a big matchup coming up on Saturday against the Rangers. That's probably going to be a first-round preview as of right now. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Trey, tell all the listeners where they can follow you on social media and where they can get the podcast.
Okay, you can follow me at TreyMatt4, TreyMatt, and the number 4. You can follow my show anywhere where you get your podcast from, and also on the Twitter page at Locked On Devils. And we are now officially on YouTube. Once again, that's where you're watching it from. We're on YouTube, so like and subscribe and get my viewership up, just starting out. And Hunter, I'm going to ask the same question to you. Where can my Locked On Devils listeners and also now watchers can find you?
Yep, you can follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes. The show's Twitter is at LO_Penguins. The show has been on YouTube for about a couple months now. We're just about finally to 100 subscribers. So, it was my short-term goal. Obviously, I'm aiming for much higher than that. At this point, you can get the podcast, wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and all that. So, I think that will do it for this crossover with the Locked On Penguins and the Locked On Devils podcast. This should be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it. These teams will not play again until next season, unless somehow the Devils, I guess, go on like a 20-2 run and get back into the playoff picture or something like that. Hey,
it's always good. It's always good to have goals, not delusions.
Miracles do happen, though. I think they're probably going to be sellers at the deadline.
We need more than a miracle. We need like an act of God or something like that.
Well, the game will be tomorrow night. Of course, that is Thursday. If people do not have their days, if they have their days mixed up, I'll be back with another episode on that evening to recap the game, and I'm sure Trey will have something cooking up as well for a recap after that. So we'll talk to you all then.
So there you go. There's my prediction for tonight's matchup. Like I said, I am a New Jersey Devils fan, but I am a realistic New Jersey Devils fan. So at the same time, I'm very excited to see Dougie Hamilton back on the rink. I do believe he's going to make an impact for this game, but it's going to be a process for the New Jersey Devils if they want to go anywhere. So right now, they might hit that hitch once again before they're off and running and maybe, go on maybe a 3-game win streak. I'm not expecting anything crazy, but like I said, it's going to be a process before they're back to what they once were like after the Christmas break or like towards the beginning of the season. And plus, we're missing Mackenzie Blackwood, we're missing Jonathan Bernier, we're missing Miles Wood. So, we still have a few injuries to deal with, including Yanni Kuokkanen. So, like I said, just be patient with the New Jersey Devils. But, don't take my word for it. Just I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. So, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment below. What do you think the score is going to be for tonight's matchup against the Pittsburgh Penguins? And if you're listening to it on a podcast streaming service, head over to Twitter at Locked On Devils or at TreyMatt4 and message me and tell me what are your overall thoughts with Dougie Hamilton returning and what do you think the final score is going to be in tonight's matchup. As for today, that's all the time I have for you guys. So continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day, New Jersey. Go Devils. Like I said, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. I've said that many times on previous episodes, so that's all we got to do and keep our expectations modest, but at the same time, be excited for Devils hockey. So I will catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for listening once again.